All right, boys, listen to this. This is the Rimanover Rebbe. Did anybody ever hear of the Rimanover Rebbe? Let me tell you something about the Rimanover Rebbe. In his time, he was saying that Bezrat Hashem, he was going to bring the Mashiach. He was so kadosh, this Rebbe, that the story behind it, how from where he was born, you're going to hear something that's it's a scary but amazing at the same time. Scary and amazing. You ready? So they called him what? Listen, his name Menachem Mendel Rimanover, right? Everybody knows him as Mendel Rimanover. But listen what happened. So his father, listen. His father was in a certain town, and there was a very wealthy guy in the town. He had, all these different assets that he had. One day he had to leave town. So now what did he have to do? He couldn't, if you realize, you can't bring your buildings and things like that with you to the next town over, and to transfer back in the day. It wasn't like nowadays you transfer money. So he saw that he had to sell all his assets, all his properties, everything he had to sell. So what did he do? He went to the father of the Rimanover Rebbe, and he told the father, he said, listen, for a cheap price, I will sell you all my assets, all my properties, everything like that for a very discounted price. Good? So he said, okay, no problem. But there was one problem. What was the problem? Even on the discount, it was a lot of money. He didn't say it was a discount, but you're right. But as soon as he buys it, though, he becomes one of the wealthiest persons in the entire town. The wealthiest persons of the entire town, that's what he's going to become. So imagine right now you have a deal. Imagine you have a crazy deal, 100-flight building for half the price. But it's still expensive. Let's say it really costs, let's say, $1 billion. But you get for $500 million. What are you going to do? Even if you get it for $500 million, it's impossible. Call Eli, I'll give you the right. Anyway, so you had to get $500 million. It's still expensive. So he went home, but it's a guaranteed $1 billion guaranteed. He went home. He ended up going home, and he sold. He told his wife, "What should we do?" He says, "No, it's no big deal. Sell everything we have. Okay, you have a lot of money. Okay, so we bring a lot of money. Okay, it brought down. Okay, they're almost there, but they're still missing, a nice chunk." Says, "No problem. We'll borrow from relatives." So they started borrowing from us, and they tell them the situation. For sure, we're going to get all the money back. And finally, after everything was said and done, he was able to put a whole entire stack of money together. And Baruch Hashem was the happiest guy. He knows once he gives the money, he gets the assets, he becomes the richest guy in town. And he's a guaranteed richness. It's not like a maybe. He's on the way to give the money to make the deal. As he's on the way, he hears on the sideline people crying, like he never heard such a crying in his life. He walks over there. He sees what's going on. He sees there's a mother with 7 children crying, and in front of them is their dead husband, dead father, on the floor. He sees it. He sees the father dead. He sees the husband dead. On the floor, he sees it. And around them, the children and the wife standing there crying. So he sees what's going on. Says, "What's going on?" So the mother starts crying. Says, "What's going to be with the parnasah? We don't know what's going to be. I have 7 children to support. This is crazy. He didn't have any money. He left nothing, 0. And they were crying about the father and crying what's going to be. So he felt bad. This person felt bad. The Rimanover Rebbe's father felt very bad. And the Rimanover Rebbe's father said, "Don't worry." And he puts out a wad of all the money that he was about to buy. He says, "Take all this money, and with this, you're going to be able to support all your family, all your children from now to who knows when. You'll have enough money to support them for many, many years to come." And what does she say? You're playing games with me. You're joking. My husband didn't die right now. You're playing games. You're giving me all this water money. I know you're going to come back to me. Get it back. There's a scam. There's nothing. You know how it is. You're giving money out free. Every time you have free an advertisement, there's on the bottom, read the bottom line, restricted, unless this, that. They get you in the strings attached. Like free. I thought it was free. But, no, it was buy one, get one free. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So he says, no. He says, I'm telling you, this is totally yours. You have no worry about. All of a sudden, after he left, in Shamayim, there was a big thunderstorm in Shamayim. Wow! Did you see what this guy did? This guy gave out all his money to tzedakah, everything for this almanah, for yetomim. Wow! They were saying, everyone was screaming out in Shamayim, we have to give him a gift. We have to give him a gift. Go give him a gift, a big gift. So they were deciding, what are they going to give him? A big gift. Who gets involved, of course? Satan Yetzer Hara. Samech Mehem. Says, wait. Before we give gifts from Shamayim, you have to understand, any gift from Shamayim that's going to come down, it's not like me and you when a guy gives a gift, he gives him a nice watch and this and that. I'm talking about a gift from Shamayim over here. You're not talking about, So he says, wait. Samech Mehem says, we got to make sure he's worthy. We got to test him. One test before we give him the gift. By the way, you see something amazing over here. Something amazing. They don't want to just give him the gift. You give him a test. You know what I'm saying? Let's say, for example, whatever. I'm not going to go into that. But they wanted to give him a test before they gave him the gift. Like all tzaddikim, he's saying, like all tzaddikim give him a big test. So what they did was, Eliyahu Hanavi started getting involved. And Eliyahu Hanavi said, if the Samech Mehem is going to give him the test, it's probably going to be impossible for him to pass. Eliyahu Hanavi says, no problem, I'll be going down and I'll give him the test. They agreed. He went, before he went home, he had to stop in Beit Midrash. It was like a far trip. He went to Beit Midrash and he said, if I get invited to somebody's house, if he invites me to eat by him or to sleep by him, no problem. I'm going to go. But I'm not going to ask around. A little embarrassed, but I'm not going to ask around. But in any case, nobody invited him. He was all alone in the Beit Midrash. Who comes in? A prestigious man comes in. Looked very, very wealthy and very aristocratic. He comes over to me and says, hi, what's your name? Shalom Aleichem. My name is this. My name is that. Okay, we're going back and forth. Says, why don't you come to my, what's it called? This, that. And he says, by the way, you should know, the aristocrat says, of course, you must have done a great mitzvah right now. The Kedushat. He says, he opens up like a wad of money as well. He says, I have all this money. I'll give it to you. All this, you could be wealthy for the rest of your life with this money, on condition that you give me the zchut of the mitzvah that you just did. He says, what are you kidding me? There's no way. Don't even talk like that. Haram. You want me to give you the mitzvah? I just did a crazy mitzvah. He says, don't worry, I'm paying you for it. Take all this money. Look at it, all this money. This is to support you and your family for the rest of the thing. This is what you did. I'm giving it to you. He says, no, absolutely not. He says, no problem. Give me half of the mitzvah and take all the money. Half, you have half, and I have half. You have all this money. Good deal, no? He says, look, sorry, I won't do it. He says, no problem. I'll make it more juicy for you. Give me a third of the mitzvah and take. He's absolutely not. And he's convincing him. He says, you know what you can do with all this money? All you give me is a third of the mitzvah. And you can do all this money, you can do more charity and more this and more that. He's convincing him, He's saying, listen, I did this mitzvah with my Misirut Nefesh. I'm not selling it for nothing. He says, okay, my last chance, last deal. 1% of the mitzvah. You take 99% of the mitzvah. 1% of the mitzvah that you just did, and you get all this money, you can support you and your whole family till the end of your life. And he's showing him all this money. 1% of that mitzvah. Give it over. He said, not even 1% I'm giving you. Not even 1% I'm not giving you. Not even 1%. And all of a sudden, Eliyahu Hanavi says, Hazar Baruch, you passed. You passed the test. I'm really Eliyahu Hanavi. Wow. In Shamayim, they came to tell you, I have 3 gifts that I could give you. You could choose one of the three. Chavod. Option A. Option A is you and your wife are going to live together a very long life, happily, very, very long life on this earth. And with panasa. With panasa, you're going to be able to have the whole life. Option B. Option B is that you will be extremely wealthy. Your wealth is going to be beyond anybody's ever imagined in history. This is like the wealth is going to be tremendous. Option C, we could give you a baby boy that's a very big kadosh. Kadosh Elyon from Shamayim. This boy that's going to be born to you is going to be very, very holy boy. Neshama from... Right away, he said, the baby boy. Eliyahu says, okay. Now, if you pick the baby boy option, there is 3 conditions to the boy. He says, what's the conditions? He says, you and your wife are going to be not binat. You're going to be walking around. You're not going to be so settled in life, right? You know what I'm saying? And second condition is that when the baby boy when your wife is pregnant with the baby boy, as soon as she gets pregnant, you're going to have to die. He says he's going to have to die right away. And he says, and the third condition is, if you have the baby boy, is in 2 years, when the baby turns 2, he says, also your wife is going to die. His wife is going to die. Those are the 3 conditions. So now he starts thinking, and he says, to this I have to ask my wife. I'm saying his my wife is also involved in the shuffle. It's not even me. His wife dying after 2 years, him dying at the time that she gets pregnant, and not in the world, they're moving back and forth. So he says, let me ask my wife. He goes, ask his wife. His wife says, what do you mean? Such a kadosh baby? Take the baby, you're crazy. Of course, take the baby. Let's go. Let's bring it. Okay. He goes, he tells Eliyahu, he says, listen, we're taking option C, the baby boy. We're taking that option with all the conditions to it. He says, okay, no problem. What happened? His wife gets pregnant. He dies. 2 years later, 2 years later, the boy turns 2, the wife dies. All conditions came to par. But the boy that was born, he was born from an neshama, a soul that came down from Shamayim, that was from Kivyachol, imagine a soul, a neshama, from many, many years prior to the generations. You know what I'm saying? It was like a neshama, such a holy neshama, that imagine neshama, I don't know how to say it, but many, many, many years ago, they came into this generation, and his impact into the world was so wild, so big, that people would say that he was the tzaddik of all the tzaddikim in that generation. And in that generation, there was many, many tzaddikim that were on a high, high level. And he was the biggest tzaddik out of all of them. And he brought down such kedusha, and he was bringing down Mashiach. In his generation, he was saying about it, Mashiach's coming in my generation. He was definite, not maybe. That wasn't maybe. Mashiach's coming, and he knew the avrot of the door, the sins of the door, that was blocking it, but he was still going full force. He ended up dying Lag BaOmer, by the way. Lamed Dal BaOmer, after that Ashbi's Lag BaOmer, he died after that Ashbi brought in that in his heart. He died at Lag BaOmer, Lamed Dal BaOmer. But he was such a tzaddik elyon. But what do you see from this story? And that was who? That was this rabbi. His name was Menachem Rimeniver, the Rimeniver Rebbe. They called him Mendele Rimeniver, but he was the Rimeniver Rebbe. And this is how he was born. But you see such a yesod in this story. First of all, you might say to yourself, but isn't it so sad? What do you mean? It's a sad story. It's like a bittersweet story, by the way. It's a bittersweet. Why? You should know, it says, Bara Mazaka Abba. Bara Mazaka Abba. What does that mean? A son is mezakeh his father. And his mother, of course. Every mitzvah that your son and daughter do, you automatically get zechut for it. Meaning to say, a guy could be up in Shamayim, in Gan Eden, and every mitzvah, that's why it's so important to train your kids to be the biggest tzaddikim elyon, to be the biggest of the Chamim. Besides that, that's the right thing to do because he's Hashem's child. But even for you, you gain benefit for it. You'll be sitting there chilling in Shamayim after 120 years. You'll be sitting down. All of a sudden, they come, they pick you up on your chair. What are you doing? I'm putting you in the next, your closest seat. What do you mean closest seat? Yeah, you're going to get VIP now. VIP now. What happened? You don't understand. Your son, he's learning more Torah. So what does it have to do with me? That's my son, not me. So you don't understand. You brought him into the world, and since you brought him into the world, you trained him to learn Torah, to do mitzvot. You put him in a good yeshiva, you put him into. You trained him Torah. You hired him Rebbes throughout the way to get him better and better in the Torah. They're putting you higher. All of a sudden, your daughter. What happens to your daughter? Right? What's the matter, Mike? Okay. So he says, how much more do I have? Seconds? Only All right. In any case, you see such a big yesod like that. And second of all, you see a big yesod that every single mitzvah that they do. In any case, he's getting me pressure now. Anyway, furthermore, besides all that, there's a big yesod. You see, one mitzvah, when a person does it with his full might, what can be zochetu. You're right, they're in Shamayim, but every single mitzvah that this kid did, remember of a Rebbe, he was a big Rebbe, every mitzvah, they get credit to it as well. Of course, it's a bittersweet thing, but we don't know Cheshbonot Shamayim, why it had to be like that. Only Hashem knows, and the Cheshbonot Shamayim, they know. But you see, he did a mitzvah, B'sirun Nefesh, look who was zochetu. Look, he was merited to. He did it with mitzvah. That's what I'm saying. When we do mitzvot, we got to put our full effort into it. You think about it, he did it with his full heart. Take all the money. What do you mean? He could have been, doesn't make a difference. Right now, the situation, put all the money here, take it. Don't worry about me. He did it with his full gut. And look at the third thing. He didn't want to sell it even for 1%. Okay, Rabbi, I came to Shaharit one time, I put everything. How much you want to give me? I'll give you $100 billion. Okay, give it to me. Okay, I'll take it to mitzvah. I have another one tomorrow. No, he didn't think like that. Because we don't understand the value of mitzvah. All the money in the world can't equal and to pay even one mitzvah of anything that we do in life. Not even one. Not even the beracha that we say in a cup of coffee. Not even that. Not even one Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo that we answer to the Hazan or one Amen could equal up to all the money in the world to pay for one mitzvah.